So I want to tell you this crazy story about how the idea of the myth came along. How I came up with that idea, how I came up with that whole concept and everything. I was watching a movie a few years back, and it was a guy's actor named Ernie Hudson. And he was, kind of portraying, supposed to be kind of, comedic in a sense, but basically what it was is he and his ex-wife, they both came from, she had a really pretty big career, but he overtook her career because he became the Calvin Klein guy. So you got this old school guy, man, that's on all these billboards, right, in Calvin Klein's. And so, he became the man. Man, became well known and everything, and became very wealthy. And obviously that spent off to some other projects for him as well. The thing is, when I seen that, it reminded me, something else from back when I was young. And a guy named Mr. Alltimer, man. Mr. Alltimer was interesting, man. He was an older guy, and I would say Mr. Alltimer probably was in his 60s, you know what I mean? And the thing about Mr. Alltimer was he had a look, you know what I mean? He had a look at that, naturally wavy hair, he had all these different things. And, he was a pretty handsome guy, if you be honest about it, right? But he paid that no mind. We knew his wife, even the students, we knew his wife, he was our principal. And, but the girls really was gaga over him, man. They was gaga over him. And I remember one time we were in the hallway, and there's two girls, man, that ran across him, and one of them, she was flirtatious, but she meant what she said, she was real with hers, man. And she was kind of, making passes at him in a sense, kind of on the sly. And what Mr. Alltimer did, he just told me, y'all need to get to class, get on, be class on time and whatnot. And he just kind of blew it off. And the thing about it, man, what it made me realize, and at that point in time, I stopped keeping on my age. Didn't even matter to me anymore. He taught me, man, that, it doesn't matter, man. Just be yourself. Just be yourself. You know what I mean? And I was like, man, this is like he didn't even know. He noticed. He noticed, man. He was used to it, wasn't nothing to him, He knew he was serious about his wife and family, man, and whatnot, so wasn't that serious to him, man. But, seeing him operate like that really kind of made me realize, man, time is ageless. And so, if I would say for 90% of my life, you could ask me how old I was, I really didn't know. And that's me being honest. I would have to really sit down and do some hard math, because it didn't matter to me anymore. As long as I ain't crossing no kind of lines, knowing at some point, hey, I don't need nobody, nobody too young or anything like that, which I would never do anyway. And, things of that nature and crossing the lines, and I was good. And so the thing is that when I seen that movie, and I seen, him on those Calvin Klein, ads on those billboards, it made me think, man, I wouldn't mind being a voice for the old school, you know what I mean? I wouldn't mind representing the old school and saying, hey, we can do anything. We capable of doing anything. Because he was old school, you know what I mean, when all this happened. And so I decided I wanted to do that. I wanted to be that voice, right? I didn't anticipate, that the music was going to come along and, be the success it turned out to be, despite me having to pull the music for some other issues. But I didn't anticipate, that my music would be streamed all over the world and all this. I didn't anticipate that. It was just me wanting to be a voice, you know what I mean? And so when the myth thing came about because I'm very private. I'm real private, man. And, I'm one of those types, man, who prefer to be invisible. You know what I mean? That's my thing. That's my thing, man. I prefer to be invisible, man, until I want to be seen. And so, thus, the myth. And, I just wanted to be a voice for the old school. And even when I was doing the music that could not be streamed, and I was just messing around with videos, playing around, that's all I was doing. I was just playing around. I never took it serious. I took, when I, went on, when social media first, really hit, and I got on social media, I mastered, I learned it, and I was just putting the quotes out there. That's all I was doing, just simple quotes. And before I know it, man, I was at 1,000, then I was at 5,000, and before I know it, man, I was at, it just kind of ballooned from there. It was crazy, because I was trying to think, man, nobody know me. You know what I mean? That's why I like it, to be honest, why I love that nobody thing, right? So I was like, okay, how can I make them say, who is this guy? Who is this guy? So I would just say these, quotes, and you know what I mean? I was like, okay. And it got to a point that, people who had large followings started following me. You know what I mean? It was crazy. And, man, I've talked to a lot of people, man. You'd be surprised that, are well known, have communicated with me. You'd be surprised, man. And it's because of the myth, they was like, I see you. I see what you're doing. You know what I mean? I see what you're doing. And, man, and they were, as far as Twitter go, they would retweet my stuff, or when Facebook was on, when I was really huge on Facebook, man, they would come on, man, and, sometimes message me or some stuff like that. We had some beautiful conversations, man, you know what I mean? And eventually I started getting into videos and stuff like that. That was way before the music thing wasn't until here recently, about 3 or 4 years ago, whatever. But it was something that came along because, outside of the quotes, I was into, writing. And I just needed to do it. It got to a point, man, I wasn't enough for me. I'm too hungry, you know what I mean? It wasn't enough just to feed my soul. I needed something. I needed some music with it. And then thus came that, So, I never anticipated I would run into somebody and all of a sudden I really could go commercial for real. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. Which incidentally, I'm going to do a live You Straight remix. I'm going to do a video. I could do all of them, man, any one of them, man, but and then the one that if I didn't do You Straight would be the one that's dedicated to my dad, but I'm going to do You Straight because I'll be honest with you, that is my favorite. That is definitely my favorite out of all 5 of them, man. That's definitely my favorite, man. And I'm going to do it. And the thing about it, I was talking a couple of months ago about something I wanted to show, my queen to be. But I never, the weather wouldn't permit, wouldn't work on me. A lot of other things, and I got busy. I just didn't get time to really do what I was going to, unveil. So I'm going to do it in the video. So I'm not going to do the video until I get that on point. When I get that on point, then I want to do the video. So I'm going to try to do the video. I want to do it sometime within the next month. So that's my goal. So we'll see. But in the meantime, yeah, that's how I came up with the idea, the concept. That's what it was all about. I just wanted to be a voice, for the old school. But to my surprise, man, I was surprised, man. A lot of people, of age and, way older than me, man, start coming out the woodworks, man. Hey, you know what? I'm dusting off some of my, old ideas. I'm dusting off some of the things I wanted to do, and I'm doing them now. You know what I mean? And they would just, be talking to me about different things and stuff, man, and they just really loved the milk. And, and when I went on, I did the Nobody concept, which I was already pumping that Nobody concept. I really, I believed in it. And I really wanted to kind of steer people away from that somebody thing, because I just feel like it's a futile pursuit, you know what I mean, when you could just wake up and be yourself. And when I really started pumping that, then that really kind of sent the myth into orbit, in a sense, because, people started interviewing me on these shows and stuff like that, and it became a big deal, man. And so I was surprised. I wasn't anticipating it would go to that level, but that idea got sparked behind me seeing that movie, and I was like, I want to be that voice. I want people that are above the age of 40 and over to know, that they can do anything. Don't feel like, you're out the game. You know what I mean? And, obviously want, those is 50, 60, 70 on up to feel like you're not out the game. You're still viable. You know what I mean? This world is yours. Open it up, man. Open it up and live your best life. And, and it just kind of went from there, man. It's been a beautiful ride, man. It have been, and I've enjoyed it, And again, I never could have anticipated a lot of the things that, spawn from it, and obviously I'm very happy to be the voice of the Nobody Show. And I'm just, and that's only, I had to pause a lot of the projects I was working on, man. And, obviously some things kind of pulled me back for a minute. But all of a sudden, time came and I needed to, launch some new projects, get some other stuff going, and it was important to me. And some of it was been sitting on the shelf, just like they were talking about. I pulled my stuff out the shelf. Well, I've been having stuff sitting on the shelf for a while. You know what I mean? And I knew I was never going to be satisfied until I did them all. And now one or two of them, kind of got squashed. So I won't be able to. You can't go back in the past, but. Those that I was able to go out on and really get cranked up and get started on and working on, I have been working on those things. And so I'm looking forward to, when I, put them in rotation and things. And so, and not to mention, just like artists, with an empty canvas, there are ideals yet to be, born. And, there is no limit to the things that we can do, as human beings. And so, it just meant a lot to me, man. And I've been very glad to have traveled, the journey I've traveled. And, to know that, I've met a lot of friends along the way. And so many amazing things has happened in my life because of that. If it wasn't for the myth, man, I don't know where I'd be right now, to be honest with you. I was in the worst situation I could possibly be in, man. And if it wasn't for someone who had been following me diligently, just saying, hey, where you at? Where you at? She said, where you at? I said, okay, this is where I'm at. She sent me the address right now. She drove two and a half states, man. Came and got me. She came and got me, man. And I could never imagine I would have been in that situation, you know what I mean? And I was in a bind, man. I was in a bind, man, and then really no way out. No way out. I probably could have, try to hunt, try to ride it out for a month or so. Maybe I could have pulled a couple of moves or whatnot. I do think on my feet, but at the same time, though, that would have been a rough ride. It would have been a rough ride because it had already been it was starting to get to that point. And so just before it got there, just because she was so aggressively, riding with me. And, she used to message me and stuff like that, man. We always used to talk about one day we're going to meet. And I started saying, man, I started feeling like, I'm going to meet her one day for real. I am going to meet her one day for real, man. I felt some type of way, man. She was good people. And she was serious too. And so the meeting happened to be her rescuing me. And she came and got me, man. She drove all night, man. All night, man. I was like, man, I couldn't believe it. When she pulled up, I was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And she not only picked me up, man, she had a friend who was living in that area, man, living in that city, man. They took me out, man, and gave me the time of my life. I was like, and she told me, man, you gotta follow him, you gotta follow him. And I eventually pulled out of social media, probably about, I'll say 1 or 2 years after that. I pulled out of social media, and, it was kind of bummed, man. That was a deep story because it didn't end there. A lot of things transpired after that, life-changing things, and it wasn't, not involving me, involving, just a whole plethora of things spawned from that. It was interesting, and people heard the story, because I had a huge following at that time, and they never wanted to see me down, man. That was the thing. I didn't know they was going to take it so hard. I really didn't. I thought I thought me being honest was gonna be a good thing. No. They did not like seeing me down, man. I just thought, put a human touch to it. Showing my real, what right now, the myth is kind of going through a little thing, a little trial and error right now, you know what I mean? And to my surprise, man, they was bummed. Oh, man, I did not expect the reaction I got. And it got to a point where I said, okay, I'm not showing no more. But then a real humanitarian thing happened, and I had to post that. I made a video, man, and I posted that video, and ironically, that video went viral. And when she seen it, that's when she reached out to me and said, "Where you at? I'm coming to get you. I'm coming to get you." And so, it was that MILF, personality, man. It wasn't for that, you know what I mean? Who knows? You know what I mean? It would have been hard, been difficult, man. What I'd have made it through, I would have made it through, sure, man. But at what cost? You know what I mean? At what cost? And so, man, it's been an interesting ride, man. And faith and belief has played a major role in allowing me to to always find my I'm a fighter, man. So if I ever find myself at the bottom of first, consider I come from the projects anyway. So I know how it is, man, to come from an impoverished background. So but when you get older and you've already you've kind of gotten out of that mode, it's not so easy to go back. I was lost, you know what I mean? I was lost, man. I don't know if I could have found my way out of it, to be honest with you. I really don't. Even with all my thinking power, it was really difficult because I had gotten used to a different life. I didn't know that life anymore. I just knew being there for others, you know what I mean? I had never had a situation where I needed somebody to be there for me. And I was not the type to say, I need help. You know what I mean? I was not that type. That was not me, man. And so for her to do that, man, it was amazing story, man. And I was glad to tell it. Man. I wanted them to know, about this hero. And it was amazing. It was amazing. But yeah, man, that's how the MILF came about. It's me. I just want to be a voice, and just say, hey, to those, of age, man, that hey, the rodeo is not over. It's just starting. It's just starting. You decide how you want to play it out. You decide how you want to, write your story. But your story can start today. You know what I mean? You don't have to be, in your 20s, your 30s, just turning 40. You don't have to be that. Your story can start today. And so, that was the message I wanted to, relay. And the rest is history. You know what I mean? So it's been an interesting journey, man. And it's obviously is a journey that's yet to, play itself out. It has a long way to go, long road ahead, lot of beautiful curves and turns and twists and, beautiful, man, beautiful journey, man. This is going to be, if the journey up to this point has been, as well received as it has been, I can only imagine, chapter 2. I can only imagine chapter 2, and that's where we're at now, chapter 2. And it's been amazing, man. It's been amazing. So, good thing about it is that, I'm no longer out of, all those thousands, you know what I mean? So, it was kind of weird. I was like, okay, do I start over? Or do I just, say, hey, man, find me if you find me? I decided to find me if you find me. I didn't want to go. Facebook, man, I feel some type of way about Facebook, the company itself. I'm at a different place in my life. And certain, companies I don't like really associate myself with. It's not I'm some kind of, above them. And man, please, me. Are you serious? Holler, man, please. It's the reason I don't judge. It's the reason why I have these rules and stuff and don't intrude in other people's lives and all that kind of stuff. But You know, man, it's just, I have a sour taste in my mouth when it comes to Facebook, man. You know, the way they be, stealing our information, selling and stuff. I have a sour taste in my mouth about it, man. So, I attempted to get on it for a minute, and I was on for a minute, and, I'm sure that page is still there, but I won't fool with it, man. I won't fool with it. It's not even, I will not do that. And Instagram, I'm good on that. Ironically, on my Facebook. I'm good. I'm never going back to Instagram. I can say that emphatically. And maybe one day I'll, revive that TikTok page. Inactive. It's inactive, and maybe one day I may revive that. I don't see that coming. I got a couple of them actually, and one of them, the numbers are high enough I can get paid right now, but I don't know, man. I have to do some thinking on it. You know what I mean? Maybe, 6 months down the line when I get a minute. Time to really get a minute to pull it to the side and think about it, I may decide to do that, but as of right now, that's not on the table, so we're going, this is one of those things. You find me, find the milk, you find them, you get to know nobody's show. That's where I'll be, and obviously I'll be, catch me on YouTube, and I'm on one other platform, and I'm gonna stay on that platform and kind of just ride that one out, kind of leave it there, man. But other than that, hey, man, I'm just gonna continue to be the MILF man, continue to be myself, and I'm never ashamed to tell my actual name. That's no problem at all. I'm not. That's no thing I'm ashamed to tell. No. Do I just up and be throwing my name all around? No. I'm very private. I'm very private, and it's kind of funny, man. When you talk about your biological name, it's only been probably. I've only known 2 people, really one person other than my mom, that could call me by my whole biological name. Only one person. And and when they used to call my biological name, I was like, okay, I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that. Other than that, man, I've only known probably, other than my mom, probably only known 2 people my whole life that I've ever been, cool with, knowing my name, you know what I mean? It's not exactly, it's nothing wrong with the name. Love you, Mom. but my biological first name, I'm not really a fan of, you know what I mean? But only my mom and one, maybe 2 other people can call me by that name, and I'm like, okay. They can call me that. They can call me that anytime. Let's go. Anyway, this your boy, the MILF, man. Wishing you a great day, man. Wishing you great promise, man. And God blessing each and every one of your steps. You know what I mean? That's on some real. Always. Holler at you later on, man. From an old schooler, right? Old schooler, right? I don't see me doing no Calvin Klein commercials, though. All right, I'm out, man.